Well, welcome to day 95 in our journey through the Word. We're getting very close to being at day 100, which is a great milestone for us in this journey. We continue on with the book of Judges and the story of Samson. Um, in our reading today, we see that Samson led Israel as a judge, and again, the judges were the military leaders for many years. By the time he finally dies, it says that he was a judge in Israel for 20 years, and so this is just not a quick in and out. He did have many years of history with the people, and we see in today's reading that he loved the women. His downfall were the women. And one in particular that we spend more time with than any other was a woman named Delilah. Delilah means with long hair hanging down. I'm sure a beautiful woman, and with the long hair, just lovely for him to look upon. He desired her. He loved her. It says he loved her. But however, if you notice, it doesn't say anything about her loving him. In fact, she was willing to turn him over to the Philistines for money. The money was more important than the relationship. The money was more important than the man. She was probably a prostitute, yet we don't know a whole lot about her. But how could Samson have been so blinded by Delilah? We see several times where she continues to ask, tell me what gives you such great strength. And he tells her, basically he lies to her, and immediately she tries what he tells her, to try to take away his strength. And you wonder, how dense was he? There's no mention made of his marrying her, nor did he take her home with him. He stayed in her home. She continued on, how can you tell me I love you when you don't share your secrets with me? How can you tell me? I thought it was interesting that in the translations today that use some common terminology today, and it was so easy for me to picture. She pouted when he told her something, and she tried it, and he just basically mocked her and making fun of her, whatever. But he was just clueless of what she was trying to do. But she began to pout. She thrust out that lip, and she just went around and she pouted until he finally said, okay, here is what gives me great strength. And yet again, she tries it, and that was not it. So she began to nag, and she nagged, and she nagged. Do you know somebody that's a nagger? Have you been a nagger before? She just would not give him rest. She was insistent. She continued on complaining until she finally wore him down. And he revealed to her the secrets of his great strength. And as soon as he did, she knew that this time he was telling the truth. For his strength came from his hair, which had never been cut. And I had to wonder, even though he laid his head down and went to sleep with his head in her lap, how could he not feel them cutting his hair and shaving his head? How could he not know? But he didn't. In Samson's blindness, in his literal blindness, because as we saw, the Philistines basically poked out his eyes. God answered his prayer to bring great destruction on the Philistines. God's warning to us is not to be enticed by the beautiful things in his creation. Satan wants to lead us on by enticing and exciting us with hope and desire by alluring us into sin. But we must remember that the anguish of the suffering is 10,000 times greater than the pleasures of the sin. The suffering is much greater than the pleasures of the sin. We need to diligently pray that God will entice us in a positive way, entice us to him, to worship him and worship him only. Think about those words today. What's enticing you? Is it the beauty of the world around you? Is Satan enticing you into sin? Are you praying to God for him to entice you into loving him and worshiping him? I hope you have a great day, and I will see you again tomorrow as we continue our journey through the world.